No one ever imagined the richest woman in the city would stop there, much less that she'd do something that would change not just one life, but hundreds. It was a cold autumn afternoon, the kind where the wind doesn't just carry leaves, it carries forgotten stories. Sitting on the sidewalk, knees pulled to her chest, a thin, dirty blanket wrapped tightly around her, was a little girl no one seemed to see. Her name was Lily. Only 10 years old, barefoot, and with cheeks smudged by the city's dust, she had learned to survive in silence. But hunger? Hunger didn't stay quiet. Lily's eyes darted between the people passing by, some in tailored suits, others with coffee cups in hand, none willing to look down. Her stomach growled again, twisting with pain. She hadn't eaten in almost 2 days. That's when she saw it, a woman stepping out of a black luxury car, heels clicking against the pavement, like a heartbeat in the silence of the world. The woman's coat was snow white, her bag worth more than anything Lily could imagine. It was Claire Donovan, billionaire, heiress, a woman featured on the covers of magazines, praised for her business empire and criticized for her cold demeanor. Lily didn't know who she was. All she saw was a tray of untouched food being discarded by the driver. A steak, some roasted vegetables, and half a dessert, wasted. Lily hesitated, heart pounding, then stood up and walked over. Her voice was barely louder than the breeze. "Excuse me, can I have the leftovers?" Her fingers trembled as she pointed to the food in the trash. The driver looked confused. Claire turned slowly, her expression unreadable. People around began to glance. Was the rich woman going to yell? Ignore her? Call security? Instead, Claire knelt down. Her eyes, behind those expensive sunglasses, studied Lily's face like she was trying to read something hidden there. Then, with a tone as soft as it was shocking, she asked, "What's your name?" The question hung in the air. Lily's lips parted. She didn't understand. Most people never asked. Most people didn't care. "My name is Lily." Claire stood up without another word and said to her driver, "Cancel my meetings. All of them." No one knew what she was thinking. But in that moment, the richest woman in the city had just done something unthinkable. She paused her $1 million day for a homeless child. And that was only the beginning. Why would a billionaire stop everything for a child she didn't know? And what secret from Claire's past was now resurfacing? Before we dive deeper into this journey, take a moment to support this channel. If you enjoy stories that touch the heart and inspire the soul, hit the like button, subscribe, and comment below where you're watching from. We love hearing your stories too. Claire Donovan wasn't known for stopping. Her days were calculated, her routines sacred, her time more expensive than gold. Yet now she sat across from a homeless child in a small cafe just around the corner, a place she normally wouldn't even glance at. Lily stared at the warm plate in front of her like it was a dream she might wake from at any moment. She hesitated before touching the food, her eyes flicking up to Claire as if asking for permission. Claire gave her a small nod. No smile, just silent permission. Lily devoured the meal with shaking hands, barely able to pace herself, as though the food might disappear if she looked away for too long. Claire watched her, a strange heaviness settling in her chest. She didn't know why she had stopped. She couldn't explain why she cared. But something about Lily's eyes, those wide, tired eyes, had shattered something deep inside her. They reminded her of someone, a memory she had buried under years of wealth, control, and polished perfection. She cleared her throat. "Where's your family?" The question made Lily freeze mid-bite. She swallowed hard, then spoke, barely above a whisper. "Gone. Mom got sick. Dad left. I don't know where he is. I sleep behind the bookstore." Claire didn't respond right away. She looked out the window, the reflection of her carefully curated life staring back at her. $1 billion contracts, endless meetings, diamond galas, and none of it had ever made her feel this way. Lily's voice broke the silence. "Why are you helping me?" It was a fair question. Claire didn't usually help anyone. Her charities were run by teams, her donations handled by assistants. But this was personal. She met Lily's gaze. "Because someone once helped me when I needed it the most." It was the first time Claire had spoken those words aloud in 20 years. Her throat tightened. The memory was fuzzy, but real. She had been 13, alone, scared. Her father had disappeared with the family's fortune during a scandal, and her mother had spiraled into depression. For weeks, Claire had gone without food, sleeping on a friend's couch until a woman at a bakery gave her a bag of leftover pastries every morning. That small act of kindness had sparked something. A will to fight. A belief that maybe, just maybe, she mattered. The next morning, Claire returned to the bookstore alley. Lily was curled up against the brick wall, hugging her knees, her face pale from the cold. Claire crouched beside her, placing a thick blanket and a paper bag of breakfast beside her. "Come with me," she said gently. Lily blinked up at her. "Where?" Claire hesitated. "Somewhere warm, somewhere safe." And for the first time, Lily smiled. It was small, fragile, but it lit up her face in a way that pulled at Claire's heart like nothing else had in years. Claire didn't know it yet, but that moment would mark the beginning of something extraordinary, not just for Lily, but for herself. The girl who once had everything was about to rediscover what it truly meant to be rich, not in money but in meaning. What Claire didn't expect, however, was that Lily would end up changing her world far more than she could ever change Lily's. Because behind that innocent face there was a truth waiting to be revealed. A truth tied to Claire's past or fortune, and a secret someone was willing to hide at all costs. Claire brought Lily to one of her private guest houses just outside the city. It wasn't a mansion, but it was warm, quiet, and safe. A soft bed, clean clothes, and 3 full meals a day. Things most people took for granted, but that Lily had never known as normal. At first, the girl said little. She walked carefully through the rooms, as if she might break something by accident or be told at any second to leave. Claire noticed every flinch, every guarded glance. This wasn't just a homeless child. This was a soul used to being invisible. The days passed slowly but gently. Claire worked from home more, something she hadn't done in years. She found herself watching Lily from the hallway sometimes, reading, sketching with pencils Claire didn't remember buying, even humming quietly to herself when she thought no one was listening. "She's different," Claire told her assistant one morning. "There's something familiar in the way she moves." The assistant, Caroline, raised an eyebrow. "Familiar? Like how?" Claire shook her head. "I don't know yet, but I feel like I've met her before." One afternoon, Claire came home early and found Lily staring at an old family portrait that hung above the fireplace. It showed Claire at age 14 with her late mother, posed stiffly in front of their estate before the scandal that ruined them. Lily pointed to Claire's mother in the painting. "She looks like my mom." The words hit Claire like a gust of cold air. She walked over slowly. "What was your mom's name?" Lily hesitated. Ava Donovan." Claire's blood ran cold. "Donovan?" She felt her legs weaken. "Ava was my cousin," she whispered. "She disappeared years ago after a fight with her father. No one knew what happened to her." Claire suddenly remembered the rumors, the family tension, how Ava had run away and cut ties. She'd always been the wild one, gentle but rebellious. Claire had loved her, but no one had spoken her name since. Claire's voice trembled. "Do you have anything of hers?" Lily nodded. "Just this," she said, pulling a tiny silver locket from under her shirt. Claire opened it. Inside was a photo of a younger Ava and another, much older photo. Claire at 13. That was the moment Claire knew. Lily wasn't just a child she had rescued. She was family, blood, the daughter of her long-lost cousin. And suddenly, everything made sense, her eyes, her kindness, even her bravery. But one question still haunted Claire. If Ava had passed away, why hadn't anyone told her? Why had Lily been living on the streets? And what exactly had happened to Ava all those years ago? Claire's mind raced. The Donovan name carried weight, and with it, power and inheritance. Was Lily entitled to more than just Claire's hospitality? Was there something hidden in the Donovan fortune? Something someone didn't want to be discovered? That night, while Lily slept peacefully for the first time in weeks, Claire stayed up, searching through old emails, documents, and legal records. What she uncovered left her breathless. There had been a trust fund set up by Ava never claimed, locked away, forgotten, or maybe intentionally kept from Lily. Someone had known. Someone had hidden it. And they weren't going to be happy that Claire had found the girl who was supposed to stay invisible. Claire sat motionless at her desk, the glow of the computer screen casting long shadows across the darkened study. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard, her heart pounding with every click. The legal document she uncovered confirmed it. Ava had established a trust fund when Lily was just a baby. Not just a small account, but a substantial sum tied to an investment portfolio Ava had discreetly built over the years, outside the Donovan family name. And the most shocking part? The account was still active, still growing. It now held over $2 million. Claire leaned back in disbelief. All this time, Lily had been sleeping on the streets, digging through trash bins for food, while a small fortune, her fortune, sat untouched in a vault under her name. But that begged the question. Why had no one claimed it for her? Why had Ava never returned to the family? And more importantly, what had really happened to her? The next morning, Claire made a discreet call to an old friend from her corporate law firm, a man named Victor Hale. Sharp, secretive, and loyal. "I need you to trace this," she said, forwarding the trust details. Discreetly. No alerts, no paper trail. Victor paused for a moment before replying. "Whose name is on this file?" Claire hesitated. "My cousin Ava and her daughter Lily." There was a longer silence on the line. "Claire, are you sure you want to open this door?" "I already did." While Victor began digging through the legal shadows, Claire focused on Lily. The girl had begun to flourish in small ways. Her cheeks fuller, her eyes less afraid. She asked questions now. She laughed once during breakfast, and Claire nearly cried at the sound. Still, Claire hadn't told her everything. Not yet. She didn't want to raise hope if there were more secrets buried deeper. But Lily, observant and sharp beyond her years, sensed something. "Are you hiding something from me?" she asked one night, sitting cross-legged on the living room rug, hugging a pillow. Claire looked into those familiar eyes and chose honesty. "I think your mom left you something. Something important. And someone may have tried to keep it from you." Lily's brows furrowed. "Why would they do that?" Claire shook her head slowly. "Because money makes people greedy and scared, even family." That night, Victor called. His voice was tense. "Claire, Ava didn't die in an accident like the paper said. She filed a police report months before her death. Said she was being followed, threatened. Then her death was ruled an overdose, but the toxicology was inconclusive. It was never reopened." Claire's heart stopped. "You think someone—" Victor cut her off. "I think someone wanted her out of the picture, and I think they wanted that trust fund hidden." Claire hung up, hands shaking. Everything was shifting. This wasn't just about helping a homeless girl. This was about uncovering a truth that someone with power had worked hard to bury. And Claire knew exactly who that someone might be. Her own brother, Henry Donovan, the current CEO of Donovan Enterprises. Ruthless, calculated. The same man who had taken over the family business after their father's collapse. The same man who had called Ava's choices a disgrace and cut ties with her completely. Claire hadn't spoken to him in years, and now she suspected he had played a part in Ava's disappearance or worse. Suddenly, Lily's safety wasn't just a matter of kindness. It was a matter of justice, and maybe even revenge. Claire knew she couldn't wait any longer. The truth was unraveling too quickly, and every hour felt like a risk. The moment Victor confirmed the trust fund had been deliberately locked behind a wall of red tape connected to Donovan Enterprises' private legal team, she had all the evidence she needed to suspect Henry. But what haunted her more was the realization that if he had gone that far to keep Lily from her inheritance, what else had he done to silence Ava? That morning, Claire left Lily with Caroline under strict instruction not to leave the house. She climbed into her black Range Rover, her mind rehearsing every word she was about to say. Donovan Tower loomed in the city skyline like a glass monument to wealth and control. As the elevator ascended to the top floor, Claire felt the familiar chill of returning to a world she had once belonged to, and left behind for good reason. Henry was waiting in his office, tall, silver-haired, still wearing the same smug expression that had followed him since their teenage years. "Claire," he said with a dry smirk, "didn't expect you here without a press release." She didn't bother to sit. "We need to talk about Ava." The name alone wiped the grin from his face. "She's dead. There's nothing to talk about." Claire's eyes narrowed. "You made sure of that, didn't you?" For a moment, silence thickened the room. Then Henry leaned back in his chair, steepling his fingers. "You always were the emotional one. Look, Ava was reckless. She ran away. She made choices. Bad ones. She didn't want the family name, so she lost the family protection. Claire threw a folder on his desk. Inside were the records Victor had pulled. Legal manipulation, forged signatures, transfer delays. And her daughter? Living on the streets while you kept her fortune buried? You crossed the line. Henry stood slowly, his tone cold and precise. I protected the company. That money belonged to someone unfit. Ava could have destroyed this family again. I made sure her mistakes didn't affect the rest of us. Claire's voice rose. Lily is not a mistake. She's a child. She's blood. Henry sneered. She's a liability. That single sentence lit a fire in Claire's chest she hadn't felt in years. Then consider me one too. She turned and walked out without another word. But her decision was made. She wasn't just going to protect Lily. She was going to bring the entire truth into the light, no matter the cost. That afternoon, she met with a journalist she trusted, someone who owed her a favor, someone hungry for a story with teeth. Together, they went over everything: the trust fund, the suspicious death, the documents, and one name echoed over and over again: Donovan. Back home, Lily sat curled up on the sofa, her sketchbook open on her lap. She looked up as Claire entered. "You look like you fought a dragon," she said softly. Claire smiled and sat beside her. "Something like that." She pulled Lily close. "No one is ever going to hurt you again." But as the sun set behind the hills, Claire's phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. "Stop digging, or you'll regret it." There were bigger forces at play now, the kind that didn't just protect money. They buried the truth. And Claire had just declared war. Claire didn't sleep that night. The message haunted her. "Stop digging, or you'll regret it." She stared at it for hours, wondering how far they'd go. She'd known the Donovans could be cruel, but this was different. This was calculated, dangerous. She paced the floor as the city lights flickered in the distance, her mind racing through every possible scenario. She had already started the fire. Now there was no going back. But she wasn't afraid for herself. She was afraid for Lily. Early the next morning, she took Lily to a safer house, one of her remote properties far from the city, surrounded by gardens and protected by tight security. "Is something wrong?" Lily asked as Claire packed her small suitcase. Claire knelt down, brushing a lock of hair from her face. "You're not in trouble," she said softly. "But there are people who don't want you to know how powerful you really are." Lily blinked. "I don't understand." Claire took her hand gently. "One day you will. For now, I just need you safe." Back in the city, the article went live. Heir to fortune found living homeless. Hidden trust fund, family secrets, and the Donovan cover-up. It exploded across headlines. TV stations, blogs, finance networks. Everyone wanted a piece of it. The name Lily Donovan was suddenly everywhere. So was Claire's. She watched the chaos unfold from her office, flanked by lawyers and PR experts. But none of it mattered. She had done the right thing. Lily would never be invisible again. But Henry? Henry was furious. He called her that same afternoon, his voice sharp and venomous. "You've just destroyed everything our family built." Claire didn't flinch. "No, you did that the day you left a child to starve in the streets." His response was ice. "You've made enemies, Claire. I hope you're ready." She hung up without replying, knowing it wasn't a threat. It was a promise. But she wasn't the same woman who once ran from boardrooms and buried memories. She was standing now, tall, fearless. Then came the twist she never saw coming. Victor called, his voice lower than usual. "Claire, we missed something. There's a clause in the trust, one that could change everything." She held her breath. "What is it?" He explained slowly, carefully. Ava had placed a hidden stipulation in the fund. If anything ever happened to her under suspicious circumstances, the trust would not only transfer to Lily, but Lily would be declared a legal heir to the entire Donovan estate. All of it. Stocks, property, holdings. Claire couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Wait, you're saying Lily could own everything?" "Yes," Victor said, "including the controlling share of Donovan Enterprises." It wasn't just money anymore. It was power. Suddenly, the threats made sense. The danger. The silence surrounding Ava's death. If Lily rose to claim what was hers, she wouldn't just expose corruption. She would dismantle it. Claire stared out the window, stunned. "She's just a child," she whispered. Victor replied, "Not for long. And right now, she needs you more than ever." That night, Claire sat with Lily under a blanket of stars. She told her everything. About her mother, the trust, the danger, the legacy. Lily listened wide-eyed, but calm. "So, I'm rich." Claire laughed softly through her tears. "You're so much more than that." Lily reached out and took her hand. "Then let's finish what my mom started. 2 hearts, 1 truth, and a battle far bigger than either of them had imagined." The boardroom was silent. Seated at the long obsidian table were the most powerful figures in Donovan Enterprises. Men and women who had built empires on stock deals, legal manipulation, and inherited privilege. At the head sat Henry Donovan, his jaw tight, eyes shadowed with fury. And then the doors opened. Claire stepped in first, poised and composed. And behind her walked Lily, dressed simply but confidently, holding a single folder in her hands. Gasps whispered through the room, whispers of disbelief, of fear. Henry stood slowly. "This is a shareholders' meeting. She has no business here." Claire placed a thick legal document on the table in front of him. "Actually, she has more business here than any of you." The room held its breath. Henry opened the folder, scanning the notarized documents, the trust records, Ava's will, every signature, every timestamp, every legal proof that Lily was not only Ava's daughter, but the rightful heir to Ava's portion of the Donovan fortune. And due to the clause in the trust, that portion now surpassed Henry's own. Lily was the majority shareholder. "She's a child," Henry barked. "She doesn't understand what this means." But Lily stepped forward, her voice soft but steady. "I understand that my mom died afraid. I understand that I lived hungry while people in this room kept me poor. And I understand that this company, this name, was built on more than just numbers. It was built on people, on family, and we forgot that." Claire looked at the board. "You have a choice. You can fight this, destroy the Donovan legacy in court, and drag everything we built through the mud, or you can welcome a new chapter, one built on truth." One by one, the board members exchanged glances, and one by one they nodded. The vote passed, unanimous. Lily was named the new chair of the Donovan Future Foundation, an initiative Ava had once dreamed of but never realized. A foundation to provide education, housing, and opportunities for underprivileged children across the country. It would be Lily's to lead when she came of age. For now, Claire would be her legal guardian and partner in building that dream. News broke like wildfire, from the streets to the boardroom. Homeless girl inherits fortune. But Lily didn't care about the headlines. What mattered was what came next. She visited the shelter where she once begged for scraps and donated new beds, books, and meals. She created a scholarship fund in Ava's name. And every Sunday, she and Claire would return to that tiny cafe on the corner, sit at the same table, and smile at strangers the way Ava once smiled at life, with quiet hope. One evening, as they watched the sun set behind the Donovan Tower, Lily looked up and asked, "Do you think she sees us?" Claire nodded, her voice trembling. She never stopped. Because love, real love, doesn't vanish with time. It leaves footprints, legacies, and sometimes, even in a world ruled by wealth and secrets, the smallest voice can echo loudest. And what started as a request for leftovers became the rebirth of a fortune. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, share this video, and tell us in the comments what part of Lily's journey moved you the most. There's another story waiting for you, and it might just change the way you see the world. Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon.